Coming up, how impossible beauty standards can deal a blow to your brain and your behavior. Because that health and beauty industry that makes a multi-billions of dollars every year, seriously, messes with girls' heads. We're going to talk about this right now on Depraved and Debaucherous. Thanks for listening in. I'm King of Podcasts. So, there's a lot of girls out there, young women, teens, 20s to the 30s, when beauty is at your prime. Youth and beauty are front and center. And you're worried about what guys might think or what girls might think and what you think what other people might think to make yourself look a certain way. And there's a certain standard that's being put out there, which I'm going to tell you right off the bat, to me is completely crazy. There is never this point where a woman can go and just feel healthy, feeling if they have a couple extra pounds or if they're not perfectly in shape. I understand the part of wanting to be in shape in terms of health. But remember, there are those out there, when you look at the health and beauty standards out there, when you look at anyone that is considered beautiful and as some kind of a supermodel or a fashion model, you know that constant thing goes on where women are being subjected to go ahead and buy whatever kind of makeup necessary, whatever kind of concealer, eyeshadows, lipsticks, mascaras, whatever. And all the different procedures that can be done to help enhance a woman's beauty when they can't even appreciate what they already have. Because the other problem is that some guys might also use that to the detriment of a woman to make her just feel insecure and bring her down, because every guy, when they're young and they don't know any better and they're going to be narcissistic and toxic, they're going to use that to a girl's advantage. And they're going to use her self-esteem and take a shot at it. Listen, it's a pretty obvious thing that guys will do. If you're going after a girl and you feel like she's a bit out of your league, you're going to try to shoot down her self-esteem a little bit. You're going to take it down a notch because you want to be able to go ahead and control the situation. And you want to make it where she feels like she needs to hold on to you because you might be the only person that makes her feel good about herself because you've created the environment for that. So someone will go ahead and lead to the dealing of a body dysmorphic disorder. And there's a study out there that talks about how it's linked to deficits in cognitive flexibility and visuospatial skills. I'm going to try to break this all down for you. So now, body dysmorphia, it can lead to slow self-esteem and disordered eating. A study published in Brain and Behavior seeks to understand the differences in cognitive function with those that are struggling with body dysmorphia and those that are not. So beauty standards are sold to us from every direction: internet, social media, movies, and magazines. We're going to talk about influencers in just a moment too. So it's easy to be fussed or insecure about one's physical appearance. Obsessive preoccupation can be described as body dysmorphic disorder, when you're just not satisfied with the way you look. And it's really tough, especially in high school, if you're dealing with peer pressure and you're dealing with young girls that are being subjected to this kind of competition, because it just creates itself. The young boys, they don't know any better, and everybody looks more or less the same. There are some girls and guys that might be a little bit different in terms of shape and different looks, but it is when you have that instant change from puberty where you start seeing the attraction of men and women together, or male and female, whatever you want to say it is, submissive or dominant. You start seeing that change right away. And we know that without any proper guidance or any kind of support to kind of just reinforce and refocus on the fact that you are beautiful, you are young, you have all the youth and beauty you could possibly possess as a young woman. And that you need to understand that you're in the same class. That doesn't mean you need to be the best or the worst, that you're in the middle. And some people will obviously make you, if you're a very pretty girl and you're put at a certain pedestal, you're going to notice that. It just depends on what your perception is and what you find out about yourself. But for those girls that are very pretty, and then they start thinking, well, they need to do something to change themselves, whether it's through various things that they're doing in order to compete or in order to put themselves at a certain level like the rest of the girls out there. Now, some of the girls might not eat as much, or they might curb on what they might do in terms of what they can wear and what's acceptable and what some girls will try to do to go ahead and stay in the same conversation in terms of being the prettiest girls that are being sought after by the most popular guys. Now, some girls might try to get themselves into that position because that becomes something that happens in popularity right away. And some people, and some young boys and girls will realize, you know what? I'm not part of this. I'm checking out of it. And they get away from it. But then also, you don't want them to go ahead and leave and go away and realize, oh, well, I want to go ahead and, keep something here. I don't want to go and lose where I'm at. And then that's what leads to certain things that some people will do to themselves because they don't feel good about themselves. And that's what really sucks here. Because when you don't realize the beauty that you have, this is for the girls out there. Plus, if something happens to you when you're younger, that causes you to go ahead and get some kind of thought process, whether it's, from family, whatever kind of pressures are being put onto you, this body dysmorphia thing is a real deal. So in this study, they utilized 500 male and female students in secondary schools in Iran. 52 students were assigned to body dysmorphic, 52 students with an even gender split assigned to the healthy control group. And results showed that mood disorders showed the highest comorbidities with body dysmorphia, followed by anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, and then eating disorders. So knowing when you can identify body dysmorphia, then you have, especially with young girls, I would think, and then guys also feeling like, well, they need to go ahead and fit to some certain standard, which is always an unreachable standard on top of that. So that's what they're talking about here. That you need to realize that there are things that you could do to yourself that will harm yourself and hurt yourself in the long run when there's nothing wrong with the way you look right now. But it's kind of hard to get that kind of reinforcement, that the validation that you seek. And what doesn't help either is body dysmorphia because of social media. I watched in the movie theaters, when I watched for Top Gun, the Dove, the beauty, care products, the soap and shampoo people. They actually did a thing with young teenage girls and their moms about some of the things they saw on social media about influencers and what they would say about what you should do to help give yourself better looking skin or to lose weight or to eat healthier, things like that. Which these influencers, they're not registered dietitians, they're not doctors, they're not anyway medical professionals, but they might get some things that are being said out there that might be perceived as fact, and some people will actually take it as truth, right? I know that happens. Well, and the same thing goes about another story that talks about how thin influencers do not motivate healthy food choices among tweens. So just before preteens. And so between 11 and 13 years old, a thin influencer does not affect food choice in kids. An overweight influencer may be able to. And remember, the influencer marketing industry is very big, with influencers advertising clothes, food, makeup, and more. If you see the girls on TikTok and they're dancing around and you see what kind of things what they're wearing, what they're doing, and what kind of bodies they have in order to be able to wear what they're wearing. And then there's this thought, well, I need to lead by that example. I need to follow that example. Well, no, you don't. And another study that talked about how when people are exposed to the thin ideal influencer, the choice of snack was not affected. An overweight influencer, participants are more likely to choose the healthy snack after seeing the post with the unhealthy product in it. And results showed an effect of weight on perceived credibility, with overweight influencers being perceived as less credible, and on influencer admiration, with thin ideal influencers being more admired. It's a very slippery slope. And so for young people out there that are listening to this program, that might be hearing my voice, just realize what's happening here, that you might subject yourself to certain things that you think you need to do to make yourself prettier or more attractive or more admirable or more noticeable to the opposite sex. If you're doing that, realize what you're putting yourself into, that this is going to be damaging to you in the long run. There are some unhealthy habits that can be picked up. And there are much more unhealthy habits out there. We're going to talk about those in the program here coming up, including one when it comes to how tattoos and piercing are more common among those who experience childhood abuse and neglect, because there are other overlying factors as to why some people will start destroying their beauty. Young girls will start destroying their beauty before they even realize they have it, or they just don't realize it's that good in place. So we'll talk all about that on a future episode. But anyway, that's going to be it for right now. And just, really, let's try to stop judging each other so much. And for the young girls out there, try to find your way to realize the youth and beauty you have. And for the adults out there, please go ahead and mentor the kids and let them know before they go down a line like you are, where you're depraved and debaucherous.